my channel. My name is Omotola Akinwale, counseling psychologist, mental and emotional wellness coach, and I am also a therapist. Thank you to all my subscribers, those who have sent a feedback, questions, DMs, and all those who share my videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. One zobo for you each, but it can't get to you physically anyways. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about something people don't really talk about, but actually is something that a lot of people go through. You know that here on therapeutic space we are going to talk about certain things that people don't get to talk about, or things that they feel that shouldn't be talked about. So I'm going to be talking about grief. Yes, grief. In relation to losing a loved one, someone you grew up with, your friend, your parent, your colleague, someone who you just find that their place in your heart is very irreplaceable. So how do you deal with it? I'm going to start with my own story. I lost a friend of mine, and I grieved about it for about 4 years. Yes, 4 years if I remember correctly. Now, I lost this person at a time when I was just discovering myself, and this was someone who helped me with most of the things I was discovering about myself, especially in my talents and in my skills. And all of a sudden got sick, and in few days the news was everywhere that the person was gone. Now I wasn't able to cry at that point because I was in shock because I couldn't believe that someone who had been so lively, so happy and all of that, and there were a lot of things we were going to do together. There were a lot of things I still had to discover, and I was getting so happy about my discoveries, and then this person is just gone all of a sudden. So I saw the body as they were going to take the body to the morgue, and I kept looking like, oh no, this is not happening. People were wailing, crying, some were throwing themselves on the floor. It was such a huge loss, but I was just there numb. So I'm going to talk about the fact that people grieve differently. Yes, I'm going to be talking about that all through this video, how your grief is not different from another person's grief. So I wasn't able to cry, I wasn't able to express myself. I was even telling people, oh, it's okay, trying to comfort them, giving them a shoulder to even cry on. And there I was, I didn't even know I was grieving. I felt at some point like, what is wrong with you? You're not even crying. But later on, as I got to understand, like I tell you that psychology, therapy is going to make you understand some things. I got to understand that I was actually grieving, but I was grieving in a very, very different way. So how do you handle grief? Now, in my own case, I said for 4 years because I wasn't able to let that out. I wasn't able to express my pain, not because I couldn't express it, but because of the fact that the way I am wired, I don't express grief through crying. There's just a sense of reality that I tend to deny for a long time. So I denied the reality that this person was no longer alive until I realized that some of the things I used to do, I couldn't do them anymore. For instance, I used to sing with this person, so I couldn't find my voice. Music became something that became really boring to me. All those activities that we used to have together, it really became, something I couldn't do anymore because I just felt like this person is gone. This person was the one who was helping me discover all of this. And then, it felt like if I was doing those activities somewhere in my mind it felt like betrayal. And at some point I felt like, oh, there was this close friendship we had, and it was so genuine and so real. So it felt like, am I ever going to find anyone to, fill in this capacity? So I had to share that so that you also understand that we are humans, and we also go through our own issues, despite the fact that we're therapists. This is a real space, so I am going to be talking about some certain things. So, in simple terms, grief is the emotional loss that you feel deeper than the cut of a wound of losing someone. So you've lost someone, and then you feel that emotional wound, you feel that pain deep inside. That is grief. So it's something that could happen. It could even be the fact that you actually lost a friend, not that the person is dead, but the person, had to probably relocate to another state, or you had a fallout or something. So I'm not about to bore you with definition or terms, but to just speak to anyone going through grief at this time. Having been through grief myself at different stages of life, I understand that feeling of losing someone is deep. I understand that it's not something just on the surface. Sometimes you can't even talk about it. You just express it. It's like a glass shattering on the bare floor. So, in the case of my friend, I denied the reality for a very long time. Like, no, this person can't be dead. you understand? And that was for 4 years. I mean, for 4 years, I just kept, wondering, no, this person is not dead. Maybe, someday somebody will give me news that, oh, it was a fake death. That kind of thing. Like, I know, right? But these things are actually real. Denial is a place some people are in their grief journey. Some have accepted the fact that it happened. Some, yes, they've accepted it has happened, but they don't know how best to get out of that. So, denial itself is perfectly normal, because it is a gradual process of making your mind come to the reality of what has happened. So, for a very long time, like I said, I kept denying. I couldn't cry, I couldn't express myself, and I was hoping it was a dream. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, hoping it was a dream. So, for people who express grief easily, it is easier to heal than those who do not. So for someone who will cry, this minute, the pain, they express everything, because, as much as the pain comes, it finds an outlet to come out, than someone who, has to crystallize it, put it down, keep it in, and then at the end of the day, it has formed so much in the mind that expressing it is now, it's far deeper than when it first happened. So in this case, those who express the grief, they're the ones who shed tears, throw tantrums. Anyhow, they just want to, express the fact that they no longer have this person around, or, the outbursts, the physical reactions. They could fall sick. Yes, it's possible, from missing the person and all of that. So it makes the grief bearer manage that situation, or as soon as it is let out, it is easier to heal. So may I mention that it is definitely okay to cry. Some people think, oh, why should I cry? Like, it has happened. Always. It is okay to cry. Crying is is a way of letting your mind heal. It's a way of expressing that hurt that you feel inside. So if you feel it's not okay to cry, it's like bottling something inside a bottle and not letting it out. So if you keep water in a bottle for days, it probably might not be bad at that time. But if you keep water in a bottle for years, one single bottle, I mean, like, can you drink that water after like 10 years? So that's how it is. So you cannot just keep something inside and just bottle it in and just seal it in, because it is going to cause a whole lot of other issues too. And in therapy, we tend to pick out all of these issues one by one. So because you lost a loved one, you fall into depression. Because you lost a loved one, you miss the beauty of life, you miss other people, you stop relating with people, you just want to have your space. While it is perfectly normal, don't stay in it for too long. That's why you're watching this video, and I'm going to tell you how not to stay in it for too long. It doesn't mean that grief will outrightly go away, but it can be managed. Stay with me, okay? I like to give tips to a grieving heart. So if you're grieving or you've gone through grief, this is not a therapeutic session as it is. I'm just putting out this content for you to understand why you're going through things like this. So to a grieving heart, one of the first practical ways to manage grief is accept your unique way of expressing grief. Accept your unique way of expressing grief. So what that means, in my own case, I could not cry, and I felt like I wasn't grieving because I wasn't crying, and others were crying. I didn't know I was grieving also, because grieving for me meant the fact that I could not express through crying, but I expressed with the activities I couldn't do anymore. I could not bring myself to doing all of those things anymore. So accept your unique way. You can shed tears non-stop. It's perfectly fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And crying is not a gender thing. Yeah, men also cry. Anyways, but if your own is a high degree of numbness, you just feel numb. You just feel your mind wanders away. You just feel like you can't do anything. That is your unique way of expressing grief. Accept it. It is yours, not anyone else. All expressions are totally acceptable. Next one, number 2. It's okay to ask questions. In this sense, I would say that a lot of people can go like, why did this happen to me? Why did this person die? Why is it not me that is gone instead? It is okay to vent your anger. It's okay to ask questions. It is very, 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 very okay. So the why me question is very permitted. You can direct the question to anybody or anything. And I'm saying anything because sometimes in the state of grief, people ask to speak to almost anything, inanimate objects. Maybe like, okay, the car that caused the accident of a loved one, and you're like, so why didn't you ask him not to pick you out that day? Why did you have to do this to somebody dear to me? A lot of people express that to inanimate objects, and it's okay, because if that object reminds you of the pain, it's okay to just vent at it. It's okay to talk at it. It is okay. It's very, 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 very okay. So express all of those things. It is perfectly normal. Your answers may not come immediately, but your relief will be gradual. So the next one, chew it out. Yeah, like let it go. I know that the time of grief is like the hardest time to talk, but it's also one of the best times to channel your emotions through talking. So you are going through something and you have to talk about it. So it's perfectly okay to chew it out. It's okay to talk about it. Talking with a purpose in mind, and this that season, if you cannot find strength in yourself, you can find strength from other people. So comfort will be given to you, strength, words of encouragement will be given to you. I know you feel like sometimes you don't want to bore people with the fact that, oh, you actually miss this person and all of that, but it's actually there, and it might be there for a very long time, actually. So, tip number 4: never stay alone. This is a warning. If I could use an amplifier to increase the volume in your mind, I would say to you, never you stay alone. Don't stay alone. Depression thrives more in loneliness. So staying alone gives room for other thoughts to breed, gives room for you to always think about the fact that this person is no longer around. So I'm saying to you, beyond just being around people all of the time, be around people who could give you strength. Like I said the other time, chewing it out, the strength of other people would also help you. So be around people who can give you strength, who can help you. That social strength would help you come a long way getting out of it. So I know that you feel like, no, they might not understand, but sometimes there is comfort in just a little hug. There is comfort in meaningful touches. There is comfort in someone just saying, oh, I just brought you food, maybe your favorite food. Ensure that you know that is gradual and it will work. Absolutely. So the next thing, number 5: talk to a psychologist or a therapist. Like me, actually, there's some emotions that are deeper than the surface, and only a psychologist or a therapist can decipher that. So you need to talk to someone who can find out all of these things from deep within and help you with them. In therapeutic session, we would help you understand why you're acting like that, what you could channel your grief to, and how best you can get out of it. All of this tailored essentially for you. So to anyone who knows anyone that is grieving, I'm also going to be sharing some tips with you how you can help the person. Sometimes some people who are grieving want their space. They want the space to cry, they want the space to vent and all of that. Don't tell them things like, it's not only you that is going through something. I know someone who lost their father at age 5 and they are not dying from it. That would be a very, very insensitive thing to say. Be sensitive to their feelings. It's better to not even talk at all than to say some insensitive things. If someone has lost somebody, no matter how much you think it's irrelevant, please keep your irrelevancy to yourself rather than tell them it's irrelevant to grieve about such a thing. Rather keep quiet and just give them a hug, a pat on the back or something. So another thing to you who knows another person who is grieving is that be patient with them. Don't talk back at them. Don't they have outbursts. Don't start throwing tantrums too at them. That could be their way of releasing all of those things. It's a time for them to let it all out. So you have to allow them let it out. So shield them from physical harm also. Some of them might want to cut themselves, eat themselves on the wall, roll on the floor and all of that. Be around them to ensure that you protect them from physical harm. And also encourage them. Give them soul lifting words. Don't try to talk down them. Don't try to discourage them. Make them understand that life is still very beautiful, even in the fact that they lost someone or they lost something. And then the very last one, listen to their rants as much much as possible. Don't say, you said this last week now. Are we going over this again? No. Listen as much as possible. You could just quietly listen and just, zip it up and keep quiet. They feel better. And that is like the little way you can just help them. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your comments, your DMs, your following on social media. And if you've not followed me on any of my social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, please do so. I'll be willing to connect.